Hello, everybody. This is Pallavi from Our Better Planet. We are talking to Discover with Devangana today. Our Better Planet is very keen on working with travel bloggers because traveling is a very so to say, a very, very big part of all our lives. And if we can try and take smaller steps to make that part of our life sustainable, there's nothing better than that. And traveling is a sort of a relaxation. It's a time when families come together. So it should definitely be the biggest chunk of our life. And if we can make it a little bit more friendlier for the planet by taking small steps, then why not? And we've been watching and following a lot of very young people, influencers, talking about uh, doing it just the right way, and they have been actually influencing a lot of traveling decisions for people, and Devangana is one. So we would love for her to join us here and give us a few tips about how she does it, what all does it take to really be a sustainable traveler, and also a few of her tips to help us follow the route. So let me just have her join here. Give me 1 second. Hi Devangana, can you see me? Hi, how are you?
Hey Pallavi, how are you?
I'm good.
Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you
I'm
so
great.
much for joining us.
Of course.
Yeah, I tell everybody
Pleasure,
that I'm sorry.
pleasure is all mine. Thank you for inviting.
Yeah, thanks so much. I mean, you guys are doing such amazing work nowadays, and we keep following you and keep seeing all your very interesting travel bits. So, just
Thank
tell us a bit about about yourself. What do you do? How do you, you're always on the go. So, people like me always question that are we really, so lucky that you guys are always on the road? How do you do it? What goes behind? So just a little bit of yourself, please.
First of all, thank you, Pallavi. I have been following a better planet, and finally, we got an opportunity to connect and share some ideas regarding sustainability. Traveling, I think it's a very glamorized world.
Right.
Uh, we all travel for different reasons. If I may ask you, why do you travel? I think most of our answers would be, to break the routine,
Yeah.
to, of course, have some uniqueness in the life. We all have same moon, sun everywhere. The elements are same, but still, why do we travel? And this is the question I asked very early at my age, but never uh, gotten into it.
Mm.
So, as a very regular student, as a very not at all extraordinary person who would think traveling and going far beyond from her hometown or probably where you're studying at,
Mm.
would want to travel, and that too solo.
Mm.
So it happened for me. I was in my master's,
Mm.
and I was a really good kid. I was a nerd, and I'm not super proud of it. Of course, people should be learning and educating themselves. Nothing against the education,
Mm.
but I was constantly pushing myself towards growing better, but with a lot of pressure. I
Okay.
never went to travel. I had never done my solo trip until and unless 2018, while one day right before my, I think, final exams, I decided, let's travel. This is not the life, Devangana, you would want your future self to look at.
Yeah.
And this was really out of a whim, a crazy idea, and I was doing well. It's not like I did not enjoy. I was pursuing environmental science, the
Mm.
subject that I learned very early that I really want to make a career out of it.
Okay.
And this is very cliche, but very true. You have to find your own ikigai. You
Right.
have to explore. I did explore before my master's, before even my bachelor's. What do I really love?
Mm.
And once you find it out, the way I'm traveling or the way I'm working with a lot of environmental organizations, it's absolutely doable.
Right.
Of course, there's life. Life will happen to you. It's not like we don't have pressure. We are also working with a lot of stakeholders. After, we are all human beings. But to find what you really want to pursue, it's the first step. And while studying environmental science, I was already in the subject. I knew the impact of climate change and environmental adversities that we usually see around us. So I
Right.
knew if
Right.
I litter around, there would have an adverse effect on the planet. So I was already following the conscious path. But until and unless I took my first solo trip in Gokarna, Karnataka, I did not realize few things. Number one, that education is a lot more than what you think. Journey, traveling is the best form of and the purest form of education you can ever get. No amount of degrees or uh, other forms of education would get you what you can teach yourself. And traveling has always been my teacher. uh, and second thing, you can start small. Now there's a sustainability trend everywhere that we go, we see, and I'm so happy about it. It's the subject of the art. People are getting more aware. But I would love for all the travelers out there, some of my friends are already doing it, how to communicate and inform people about conscious traveling.
Right.
Until and unless I am practicing it, I can't preach about it.
Of
So that's
course.
how I think smaller journeys, slow journeys. I am fortunate enough right now, currently, that I can travel from anywhere, work from anywhere, and really focus on key things that life has to offer. So I think, yes, I have been fortunate in that area. But without the consciousness, without the mindful actions, you can't do anything. The simplest of things in your life, you have to be very conscious. You have to look around the surrounding and analyze your own environment rather than comparing our situations with other people. Probably their situations are different, our situations are different, but the first step is always making yourself aware what is the need and why do I want to travel. I think that step, I'm not asking everyone to follow the same routine, but I think youth, we have a lot of power. 60% of the country is youth, and knowledge is at the at one click. So definitely, I think education, self-awareness, and smaller steps.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's great. It gives me goosebumps to hear this from you. You're so young, and you have so much of what should I say? It's not maturity, but it's humbleness that you're accepting that you have figured and you're trying to figure out for yourself. That what is it that you want, because at
Yeah.
this age, I still don't know. I've been doing things all my life of different nature, and which has brought me here because
Right.
probably it all culminated into a journey which was a little bit more about consciousness, and I wanted to be aware in whatever I was doing. But
Right.
hearing you talk about this, I still feel that I'm not even 1% there. So this is
Me,
amazing
me
because
too. Me too, Pallavi. So I think, like I said, sorry to interrupt. I think making yourself aware is the first step. And I love how
I feel that just a small real, and
yeah,
also feeling the power in you that I can make a change, whatever small or big that is. It
correct.
doesn't matter, but just feeling that energy within you that yeah, okay, I also matter and I can make a change.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. An ant matters, a moth
yeah,
matters. So we
yeah.
are supreme powers, I think, in the ecosystem. So definitely everyone matters.
People just kind of shove it aside, thinking that no, how can I do it? It's just like I'm a regular human being who's like doing a 9 to 5 job and then coming back to my family, and then I have a little time for them. So how do I really fit all this in? And okay, no, there's no purpose to this. But I feel that if we can, like how you are doing things in a way in which you're kind of influencing others, and also not doing it to influence others, but to kind of make peace with the fact that I'm trying to provide for the problem as well, right?
Right.
That's a step that you take to kind of, and that's a big realization. You're a generation apart, so that's a great realization. And how do you, how do you manage all of this? I'm just asking this because so many people will have this question, right? That, okay, I'm working, and then, okay, I'm traveling, but then how do I kind of travel and travel again and then go back to travel? So how does that work? I mean, you've done your education, now you're working somewhere, and you're also kind of traveling with it.
Right.
Okay.
So I'll answer to your question by asking you a question. So how were you so sure about the entrepreneurship? Now, Our Better Planet is a business. So
Yeah.
how are you making sure that you wanted to be an entrepreneur, and that too in the sustainability? And I'll answer probably
Yeah.
on your behalf. I think
Yeah, please.
I'm assuming it was a mere choice. Like you wanted to go into that direction. You consciously made a choice that, okay, I want to be an entrepreneur, but in what field? Like we both. This is environment, sustainability. The area is very widespread,
Yeah.
and it's people are getting aware, but it's the toughest. Like we have to literally swim against the waters,
Correct.
practically,
Correct.
to follow this path. So this comes within you. I don't force solo traveling because of Instagram, because it's a trend. I
Mm.
love out. I love traveling, and like I said, traveling for me is it's form of education. Now
Right,
coming
right,
to the
right.
how do I manage? So when there's a will, there's a way. It's as simple as that. I do have my 9 to 5, which I love. I absolutely love my 9 to 5. I consult companies as well. I freelance, and fourth comes my traveling. So I do have a lot of things, but I think youth specifically, I'm still emphasizing on youth. You have a lot of time in your hands,
Correct.
and like people have said, whoever have traveled, cinematographers, poets, like if you want to pursue life, if you want to know your journey, travel. Why do people say travel more? I'm not saying pack your bag and go away, leave your house and leave everything behind, but whenever you can, there's a weekend, people have Sundays off at least. Why
Yeah.
can't you venture? I'm not even saying to go out far. Have you ever traveled your entire city? How much do you know about your city or town or a village you live in?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm yet to explore Ahmedabad, where my permanent address is, or Mumbai. So smaller steps, and above this, I think passion comes beyond
Of course.
everything else. If you are passionate about a subject, you'll definitely find a way. Like environmental science, especially for researchers, it's not a very high paying job. It's still not the case in India. Things are getting,
Mm-hmm.
people are joining, we are having more stronger forces, but still I also had to level up my own skills. So
Right.
it comes down to discipline, your figuring it out what you love, and
Right.
making your own boundary. Now if I can't go to Kashmir right now because I have a lot of projects, I don't travel. I'm not traveling since a month. So it's
Mm.
as simple as that. If you have a choice, it boils down to what do you want to do with your free time. Do you want to volunteer? Do you want to go to a music class? This is restrictive to travel because I love traveling. But I think every one of us can figure at least simpler things out. What do they love to do, and how can they contribute towards the society? Now, for me, making myself use or giving back to society was very important. I'm not measuring the level of help that I can provide people, but definitely I'm not Bill Gates, but definitely I can at least educate somebody about environment. That's how I do. When I travel, I uh, uh, help government bodies to I educate kids there. I tell them about environment, what's going on in urban areas, and how they are contributing. Rural areas. I love rural environment. They are the prime pillars why we are still sustaining this planet. But unfortunately, rural people, tribal people, and wildlife, these are the stakeholders who have been affecting a lot because of our actions.
Correct,
So I think
correct.
a little bit of here and there you can always manage if you love a subject. If you love entrepreneurship, you'll find your way. How you're communicating with me. So everyone eventually has to go out a little bit from their comfort zone and accomplish, at least try to accomplish. I'm not a great environmentalist. I have not put, a sustainable traveler or environmental activist. I've put conscious traveler and trying to build a conscious community. It's ever learning process.
No, it's amazing because you kind of very relatable as well, right? So there is not too much that is there's not too much of a gap in
Yeah,
how you perceive yourself to be traveling, and then when you kind of see you doing it,
right.
it's not something which is unachievable, which also makes it very attractive for at least for me. It makes it very attractive. And Devang, I have a question, very cliched, but being a girl, do you have any problems? I mean, you've been passionately traveling for some time, so our country is extremely renowned for being a little bit notorious about how they treat their women and girls and stuff like that. So, living where I live in Bangalore, we're fortunate because I'm a North Indian and I have been brought up there. So, I have my share of experiences, but part of the country I feel safer here. So when you travel to the north or when you travel to northeast, do you sense a difference between geographies, or do you feel safe? What is the picture there?
I think I do get a lot of these whenever I'm traveling, or people do text me like, Devangana, I want to travel, but I'm scared. It's absolutely understandable. Now, every landmark is different from each other. Even India is so huge.
Yeah,
It's varied. And
right.
I do agree that, certain areas are safer because of better infrastructure or awareness of the local. But these are the practices I think any solo female traveler can, inculcate if they really want to step forward towards solo traveling. First of all, like I said, it's a choice. You don't have to travel alone because it's a trend. If you really feel comfortable, then only step outside. Second thing is you have to be aware all the time. Now, if I'm going to Northeast, I traveled Northeast for a month, but I educated myself. You have to know where you are going. Now, for example, if I was in Sri Lanka, there are certain temples, just like in India, like bringing yourself up in India has huge
But,
perks. We already know about
yeah.
culture. We know a lot more about culture. So
But
while I was, yeah.
no, I said
Yeah. So while I was there, yes, absolutely. But so in Sri Lanka, certain temples, you have to wear long skirts. So these kind of self-awareness comes only if you know where you're going to. So always research. Now
yeah.
there are places like, for example, in Northeast, like Meghalaya, Shillong, sunsets were pretty early, and sunrises where sometimes you wake up at 3:30 in the morning, and there you go, you see the first rays. So you have to educate yourself, you have to make yourself comfortable, and teach how to go out, when to go out. Like during the nights, if I'm alone, I usually wouldn't step outside. If I was in a group, like I traveled and stayed in a lot of hostels, you naturally make some friends. But if I'm alone, then it's always advisable not to go out too late in areas where you don't absolutely have no control over, or do not know any local.
Correct.
Always make friends with locals. Go beyond your fear, and you're just a hello away from a stranger. Like I interact with locals a lot. and usually 95% of the time they are lovely, they are loving people. All of them have taken care of me more than I've asked them to. So local interactions is very important. Now we live in a tech era. We have everything. Like if I'm wandering in cities, if they have Uber services, you have locations. Just send your location to somebody. I have 2 contacts. Whenever I'm traveling, whenever I compulsorily have to fly, and it's a midnight flight, and I'm going somewhere. Let's say Pallavi, I'm coming to Bangalore, and I don't know anybody in Bangalore. So it's always advisable to send your location to either of your friends. Our friends live everywhere now. I have US friends, so they can take care of me while I am traveling somewhere in the midnight. So there are few certain safety steps that you have to follow, and you can't be dumb traveling to another place mindlessly. You have to be aware where you are traveling. You have to be very cultural sensitive. You have to respect the culture first, then nobody can touch you. And again, your body language says a lot of things. You have to have that tough woman wala body language, so that it makes everything easy. It was for me, to the very least. So I think these are fewer steps that you definitely need to take. You can't guarantee anything, but definitely with precautions, a lot of things can be avoided.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's mostly about awareness. I mean, if you are aware that, okay, I'm comfortable doing this, I'm not comfortable doing this, and
Exactly.
probably late nights in places where you cannot, or if you may be traveling first time, because said and done, no stopping the travel is what I'm getting from you. You just go for it, and it's amazing. And so what are you planning? I mean, are you planning you're doing so much travel, you're recording it, you're kind of recording it here, you're also almost creating a record for everybody on Instagram. Are you trying to do something with it, or in the long term do you have some plans to kind of uh, something? I mean, have you thought about it, or it's still up in the air?
I think goes both ways. I love to use Instagram to, share my travel stories. Sometimes make people aware. When I started sharing these things, how consciously you can travel, small minor things. Yeah. It's not like I am not a consumer. I'm wearing a T-shirt. I'm living. That means you have a footprint. Naturally, you can't avoid everything and anything.
Right.
But the moment I started posting on Instagram, you have to have a lot of patience. And now there's a race. Like everybody is a content creator. Everybody has followers. But I think what my plan is to only, I think, educate what's the reality and how can we slowly and steadily shift tourism, unbalanced tourism, to responsible and conscious tourism. Like we have a huge potential to turn the tables around. If you are traveling very consciously, if you are mindful about your impact to any destination, a lot of things can be really changed. Like you might have observed few islands. Like look at Venice. Too many travelers. You can't even imagine. Look at Paris. Like there's a carrying capacity for any destination to hold tourists.
Right.
So why don't we demand better travel? It's better for us. It's better for environment. So my only goal is to keep learning. I'm also learning. I'm way too far to to have cracked the code of conscious traveling. But whatever I have experienced, I'm trying to give it to Instagram, because I believe one of the pillars of sustainability has always been education for me. Offline, whenever I'm traveling, I support giving lectures in underprivileged schools. And online, you have a huge power. If you are on social media, I'm not thinking about followers. I'm a human being, and that too a young girl. So I tend to compare my Instagram account with my fellow travelers who are growing constantly. And I'm not being able to level up my game in that sense. But I think my end goal has always been how to spread awareness regarding the subject, because I believe it's still new. it was never new to India. Has always been so sustainable. Like we have been living the legacy, like our grandparents, great grandparents. They always had very sustainable lifestyle. We did not buy until and unless there was a need.
Yeah.
And now we are mindlessly traveling, mindlessly hurting each other, and still I think some of the human beings may complain, we have taken a vacation, but then I have to take a vacation from a vacation. So I think you gotta ask yourself what's going on. Even I get
Yeah.
I am also a human being. I also make mistakes, but the end goal is always to share the reality. That's why sometimes I post things like how we are picking up the trash, because that's the reality. It's
Yeah.
not like we'll pick up the trash every day and there's end of the world. Like we'll gather litter and then that's it. That's our job. No, we understand we have to recycle it. We somehow have to take the further steps. But the biggest you know flaw of traveling is if something can change, some action can change and have a huge positive impact on either community or wildlife or biodiversity there, then why not?
Yeah.
If one bottle, like I always have these reusable things with me whenever I'm travel, whenever I'm home, it cut down a huge amount of waste from your daily life. So
Yeah.
why can't that one step, that one little effort to just eliminate a huge amount of waste? And you have the capability, you have the power. I think, yeah, smaller steps. I always say this everywhere. You don't have to be an extremist. It's my, I think,
Yeah.
Devangana conscious travelings and tagline.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's true. You don't have to be an extremist. You don't have to go way out and have too much of pressure.
Yeah, it's all about these small steps, and it's about very, very small things. And just like you said, traveling should make you happy, right? Now you're saying,
Right.
right? You some people who are telling you that, okay, I need another vacation from a vacation. So I think traveling also has become like it's become like a status symbol also, so to say, that okay, I visited this place and okay, I utilized this holiday this way. I feel even if you, like how you're saying about your local environment, if you travel close by or if you kind of plan an activity, just visit a park with your kids or go
Right.
somewhere, explore the city also, that can also be termed as
That
travel,
counts.
right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
And it can also be refreshing. It can also be a nice day out with family. So it's not always about planning these elaborate holidays, but kind of planning things which make you happier and also help you with the self realization that you're talking about. And once that happens, I feel things can be a lot better for us as well as for the environment. We'll start thinking about, how things better, right? And there's so many of kind of lead the path. So there is no lack of information. Like how I've seen you cleaning beaches, and that's not something that anybody would envision doing on a holiday, right? If you ask that, would you like to do that on a holiday? Nobody would want to. They'll be like, okay, why would I be doing that on a holiday? But that's something that comes with a lot of self-realization that okay, this is hurting, and this is how I can add value to something which is hurting, because of course it is giving me so much back, which we don't realize. There's so much that we are deriving from the planet, but we never ever think of that how are we contributing towards it, right?
I think empathy. Unfortunately, this era losing out on a lot of empathy,
Of
including myself. I'm no superhero.
Yeah,
Sometimes
so
yeah,
everybody, that's the biggest, that is the lacking. You just banged it exactly. That is something completely lacking. We are
right.
always demanding, and we are never ready to give back, and we don't treat things equally,
Right.
and we always able to take care of that. Okay, yeah, it's just a very small thing, maybe
Right.
it can't. So plastic water bottles, I mean, it's a nuisance, but
Right.
I don't know when can we act, will it ever possible to get rid of it. So yeah, I mean, amazing stuff, Devangana. This is really, really inspiring. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you so much for sharing all this information. I'm sure you're inspiring people all over the country as well as the world. And just keep doing what you're doing. It's amazing. More
Thank you.
power.
I adore how the sustainable startup world has taken a lot of our place in sustainability world, and I'm super glad that we have now young entrepreneurs, young minds going and thinking towards sustainability.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I think we just do our own. If we just follow our own ikigais, I mean, if we just understand that, and I think it's going to be more than enough for the planet and for everybody else.
we still
So,
have
touch.
time. Definitely.
Yeah, let's stay in touch and let's do some good stuff together. And best to you. And where are you traveling to next?
uh, my travel plans are always impromptu, so
Okay.
I do not myself think too much. Definitely, I do all the research about the destination I'm going to while I'm traveling, probably. But I love offbeat travel. Northeast India has special place in my heart, and I haven't been able to explore the 7 states yet.
Okay.
So
Okay.
probably there. And so this is again, I would end this session with a note. Try to emphasize on developing travel destinations. These
Yeah.
areas need a lot of our help, our funding, our donations to develop and maintain and preserve their infrastructures.
Yeah.
Like we all know Mumbai, we all know Pune, we all know Khajuraho, we all know Hampi. But what about Northeast India?
Yeah.
Meghalaya is so beautiful, but there have been parts where people needed a lot of funding. There are rural areas everywhere in India, but why not to travel somewhere completely unknown,
Hmm.
like completely different from what you are used to? So I think developing destinations do require a lot of funding from tourists or from travelers from our end. So definitely try that part of yours, try that mind of yours to think into that direction. And like I said, any destination can be beautiful if your mind is open to see the beauty. So inshallah, let's see.
Thank you so much for your time, Devangana.
Thank
Lovely
you.
chat. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.